Hi friends, it's Peggy Noe from PrettyPaperCards.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here today to show you how to make this gorgeous triple fold hydrangea card. And what we're going to be using is parts of the beautiful Hydrangea Hill Suite by Stampin' Up! It's in the brand new January to June mini catalog, and we're going to be using this really nice stamp set and die set, the Hydrangea Haven bundle, and I'll show you those close up. We're going to be using this beautiful, gorgeous grape sheer ribbon, the pastel pearls, which are gorgeous, and mostly what I wanted you to see is the Hydrangea Hill Designer Series paper. This is scrumptious, and we're going to use quite a few of the patterns today so you can see how beautiful it is. And if you need this mini catalog and don't have it, and you don't have another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, feel free to email me at Peggy@PrettyPaperCards.com. Okay, let's get started. Now, I better open it and show you how it looks, right? So it has a belly band, and it folds out like this. Isn't that pretty? Look at all those different gorgeous patterns. So what it takes as a card base is a 12 by 5.5 piece of basic white paper. So if you don't have the 12-inch, it really won't work as well. So you really want the 12-inch paper. And then you're going to score it. And I've got the score lines written down here for you, and I'll put these measurements down below. So you've got it 5.5 inches tall here. That's the size of our standard card. And I need to bring out my arm of my paper trimmer because we're going to go a little past 6 inches, and that's what I love about this trimmer is you can pull out the arm. So we're going to score first at 4.25 inches right here. And this has two blades. It has the cutting blade and the gray scoring blade. So we're going to make sure that we score that, and I'm going to double check to see that it did score correctly. Sometimes I don't press hard enough. The next score line is going to be at 7.25 right here, and we're going to score there. And then our last score line is at 10.25 right up there. And so we want to score that. Okay, now we can put our paper trimmer away for a bit, and let's burnish these score lines, fold and burnish them, which means to fold them really well. And this kind of shows us how the card works. You fold back and forward and back, and there's your pretty card. And I'm going to, I'm going to just burnish it, which means just go over it with a bone folder so that the folds really fold well. So I'm going to open it on the inside here and do it on the back and do it on the back of this. That way we know our folds are nice and clean. So this is basically your card. And now the rest of what we're going to do today is just to decorate it. And so let's pull out some of the pieces of beautiful paper that we need. So we're going to we'll start by gluing down all the papers, and then we'll go back in and stamp and do some die cutting, okay? To start out with, for this back piece, I'm going to use, you can just see how beautiful these papers are. They're all from this set, and I'm going to be securing them or adhering them with my multi-purpose glue. And I'm just going to put it down there, and I want to try to make sure that it's even on all sides, kind of an even little frame around it like that. And I'm going to get my glasses on so that I can see what I'm doing here. So our next piece, that was the 4 by 5.25 piece. And then I've cut another piece, and here's the back of that one. And this is 2 3/4 by 5.25. Everything is 5.25 because that's the height of the card. the card is 5.5, but we're going to come back 1/4 of an inch. And so every piece of designer series paper is 5 1/4 inches high. And so there again we'll come in. And one of the things you might want to watch here is to make sure that these lines look, these pieces kind of line up together. You don't want one real far down and another one real far up. So that's one thing I usually check. Okay, the next one, we're going to use this pretty piece of, I think it's Highland Heather is the color. And look at the little, you can see the indented, or not indented, but faint colored flowers there. Very pretty, and it's the back side of the gorgeous hydrangea. I mean, they make it so that each page is so, each side of the sheet is so pretty. You don't want to use, you know, sometimes I have to even get another set of the papers, another package, because I love all the sides so much. And then we're going to put this piece over here like this, and this one is 1.5 by 5 1/4. So we're going to adhere this one back here. Now I have a little special thing that we're going to do for the, to go over this piece here. I have a beautiful piece of Golden Garden Acetate. This is silver on one side and gold on the other, and I'm going to put it gold side down, and I'm going to just put little tiny dots of glue. I can get them tiny, tiny, tiny. Don't want to get too much. It doesn't really show that much on the other side, so I'm just going to put little tiny dots where underneath part of the patterns, so it won't show out too much. And once you get it set down, it'll look fine. You won't really see it at all. But this just kind of, this is a way to just kind of hide your adhesive here. And it doesn't take a lot, just a few little dots is all you need. Okay, I think that's good. And I'm going to put this right over this Highland Heather, this light purple piece like that. And we're just going to press down, and that'll dry. And isn't that just a pretty, I think that is such a pretty, gives such a pretty look to that paper. It really fancies it up, doesn't it, with the purple underneath. So that's what that looks like. I think that's gorgeous. And now for the front, the little front side panel, we have another piece of 1.5 by 5 1/4 paper, and you can see it also has some pink in it. But I wanted to make this all purple today. I'm in a purple mood, so I just wanted to make a purple card. Okay, there we go. Now you could decorate the back, I suppose, but basically that doesn't show. Here's your card. This is the base of your card. It's not the card base, but this is what you build on. And from now on, you just put sentiments and do some stamping and do some die cutting. So let's see what we might do here. I have lots of little pieces here that we are going to die cut. And I'm going to pull in my adorable little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I hope you've seen this little guy. Oh my gosh, he is so adorable. And he has these cute little plates, and they're numbered 1, and then you put on a clear plate 2, and this is another 2 because you put that on top after you've put your paper and your die in. So we're going to use this die, and here I'm going to show you. I meant to show you. These are the hydrangea dies. These, plus the ones we're going to use today, they are beautiful, and that's why I wanted to show you this, because the dies are so much fun. Now this die is just a lot of little tiny flowers, and you might think they would come out in a row, but they don't. They come out all single. So let's put them through our little machine here. I just love this little guy. He's so cute. Let's scooch that over. Okay, I think that'll come out right. And we'll just run that through. And I just kind of let that move from side to side because I really didn't care exactly how it lined up because I just want all the little flowers. And here they are. Look at them, aren't they just cute? Just adorable. I even have to get them off with my fingernails. There's so many. And we're going to use them too. So there are little flowers, and I see that I've still got even one left in my die. All right, what's the next thing? We're going to cut. Now we're going to cut. The other dies I'm using for this project are the Stitch So Sweetly dies. These are my favorites. If you have seen any of my other videos or my blog, you know that I really, really love these. So I'm going to use, this is one of the small stitched rectangles and stitched and scalloped, which is why I like it so well. So I'm just going to put that on my little machine and put my plate on top, and then I can just hold my plate down and run it through. I mean, this little guy is so cute. You just keep him right next to you while you're creating, and you don't have to get up and use the bigger machine. It's really easy. It's just a snap. Okay, so there is this little rectangle. Very cute. All right, what else are we going to do here? We are going to cut the big piece that goes on the inside. And this again is a die from the Stitch So Sweetly. And we're going to run that through. Now, one thing I've learned about this little mini machine is that if you kind of angle your plates, don't have them all exactly perfectly lined up like that, it makes it a little harder for the machine to grab because it's a little small machine. So if you kind of angle them back, they run through a little smoother. So I'm just going to do that, and it just starts out very easy. I mean, well, you can tell I love this little guy. I just love him. Okay, and here's this piece. And it's stitched also. It's not scalloped, but it is stitched. And now we're going to have to stop and do a little bit of stamping before we go on. So I've got some of the stamps from the beautiful Hydrangea die stamp set. And here it is, Hydrangea Haven stamp set. And we're going to use To an Incredible Woman, and we're going to use You Are Capable of Amazing Things. I like those sentiments. So first what we're going to do is we're going to stamp on this piece. This I want to cut out like that with that die again from the Stitch So Sweetly. And so I want to stamp first before die cutting so I can make sure to get my my stamped image lined up inside the die. So I'm just going to turn it a little bit like that. And I just want to make sure I get it in the right area. And then I'll do it a little more cleanly when I die cut that. So I'm going to set that aside to be die cut. The next thing is our other little sentiment, which says, You are capable of amazing things. I'm going to stamp on this Whisper White, piece of Whisper White or basic white paper. And that came out nicely. And this one I'm going to cut with a little die that's so tiny I can hardly find it. Okay, this is a die that's a small stitched rectangle from the Hydrangea dies. And then I'm going to use this piece that we just cut, and there is a real pretty floral stamp in this set. Here it is. And I'm just going to stamp that on the bottom. This is the piece that is going to allow a place for you to sign your card. So I don't want to stamp on the top and the bottom, but I'm just going to stamp on the bottom to give it a little something, you know, on that piece instead of leaving it blank. Okay, let's get back our little mini machine. And first we'll cut out our To an Incredible Woman sentiment. we'll put that right on there. And this one I'm going to have to, I want to really be careful and get that nice and even. So I'm kind of hanging my head. I hope you can't see my roots in there. But I want to try to get that pretty even looking. Okay, I kind of like that. So I'm going to set my plate down and just really hold on to it, really press down so it doesn't move. Okay. Now let's see how that came out. Very nice. I really like it, don't you? Okay. And now we need to cut our little tiny sentiment with the little tiny, tiny die. And this one we have to be even a bit more careful with. Just like this. And try to get that lined up just right. It really is made to fit this exact sentiment because it's the die that coordinates, from the die set that coordinates with the stamp set. So I'm just going to lay that down right there, and I think it moved a little bit. Let's go back. I don't want to have to restamp it. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that'll come out straight. And it does. It looks pretty straight, doesn't it? Oops. I'll put my little machine back. Let's see how that came out. Adorable. Now we can begin to do some of our gluing. And this little sentiment is going to go right in the center here of this rectangle. Now for the items that go inside the card, you've already seen that the card is a little bit thick because it folds up because it's a triple fold card, right? So some of these things I might ordinarily use a Stampin' Dimensional for, but because this is going to go in the inside of the card, I'm not going to. I am going to just glue it down flat. Here's our card, and this is going to go right here. And if I had too many dimensionals in here, it would the card would be so fat the belly band wouldn't go across, and it might not fit in an envelope, which I want it to do. So I'm just going to glue this down right here. And then here's our piece that is for someone to write, for you to write, you know, love or whatever you want to write. So let's just glue that down also. Again, one that I might otherwise use Stampin' Dimensionals for. So I'm just going to put that down right like that. This gives some fun when they open, each time they open another fold of the card, they see something different. Isn't that neat? Now here's where we're going to use our little flowers. We're going to put one there. I've just got them all over my desk here, and they're kind of hard to pick up. Okay, so we're going to put 3 on here, and I want to show you closely. You remember that die that we used? It has a little embossing on it. I don't know if you can see how there are little indents there, so the flowers are actually indented. Really, really cute. So I'm going to just put 3 of them kind of arbitrarily around here, just to have something going on. Just going to put a few little dots of glue, and then put my flowers right on top of that. And I'll just leave the card open for a minute so they can dry. Let's put this one over this little dot of glue. You really do have to have some glasses. I do. When working on this, you gotta see what's going on. I'll go back and press just a little bit. Okay, excellent. Now, we've already stamped our front piece, And this is where we want to put it, right here. We want it to kind of only be halfway on this very front panel. So here I am going to use Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm only going to put them on the left side there so that my sentiment hangs over a little bit. I hope that makes sense. Whoops. Okay, there we go. So we're just going to press this right over this portion like that. And now we're going to put a few more flowers on there. And remember that our belly band is going to have to come down through the center. So I'm going to put one flower up here, and I'm going to put 3 of them down here, kind of in a little cluster. And I want to make sure that I have the kind of deeply embossed area on the top there. Okay. It's real easy to just set them on the glue, especially if you give the glue a few minutes, not minutes, but even just seconds. Give the glue a few seconds to set up, and it's amazing. It doesn't smear as much, and it grabs on better. Okay, let's just try to get that little guy right in there, kind of just overlapping them. Oh, one came off. Uh-oh. Okay, I'll put some more glue on there. This way you know we're not all perfect. Everybody has the same problems. Okay, and a little bit of glue sticking out. I'm going to just get it with my fingernail. And we know it's going to dry clear and nobody's going to notice that. So this is basically our card, and now we need to make our belly band. And I'll just set this aside to dry. So our belly band is a 1-inch by 11-inch piece of purple Posy cardstock. And again, we're going to get out our paper trimmer and we're going to score this. And let me check my dimensions here. I have it written on my paper. Okay. So we're going to score at 3 1/4, which is right here. And now don't forget, you want to be sure to have your, let me go back, 3 1/4. You want to be sure to have your darker cutting blade up and out of the way when you do the scoring. Okay, that's 3 1/4. And the next one is going to be 7 5/8. 7 5/8. So 4/8 is a half. So this is just a hair past a half. There we go. So now our belly band is scored. And let's give it a little test. Fold it. There we go. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is, for this, I am actually going to use some Stampin' Seal. It's a nice strong hold, and I want to use this for my adhesive here. So I'm just going to put some of that down the center of my down the center of the back of my belly band. And I'm going to fold this one over to secure those 2 ends, and that will be on the back of the card. So there we go. So there's our belly band. And now we're going to add some beautiful, gorgeous grape sheer ribbon. Look at how beautiful this is. This is also new in the new mini catalog. It is so pretty. And what I'm going to do is start in the back. And again, I'm going to use the Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to, you have to advance it sometimes. I'm going to run a strip down the center. You don't have to do it all the way down the center, but at least on both kind of sides, like that. And then this is going to secure our beautiful ribbon. So we're going to put the ribbon right over that, and that way nobody will know how we did that. Now I'm going to cut off. I like long ends on my ribbon because that gives me a lot of area to, a lot of space. You know, when I'm tying a bow, I can get long tails or short tails or whatever. So now here on the front, I'm just going to put, let me get that to go in there. There we go. Just a tiny, tiny bit of my Stampin' Seal. Okay, let's turn it around. It has a little mind of its own, but all I need is a dot here. There we go. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull this over and make sure it's in the center and pull it down like that. And that is going to, that way it won't move when it's on the card, and yet it's kind of free in the center here. So I'm going to pull that. There we go. Now all we have to do is tie our bow. And this ribbon is so beautiful, it's not too hard to tie bows with, but you may, sometimes I tie them 1 or 2 times to get to make sure they're really pretty and just the way I want them to be. So I'm going to overlap this piece, go under and bring it back out. There we go. There's our bow. Look how pretty that ties a bow. I just love it. Let me see. The thing about bows is that you have to play with them. You need to play with them a little bit to get them just the way you want. So I kind of like the way that one is. Let's, we'll fix it a little bit more when we get it on the card, and I'll cut it off with my, cut the tails off with my special ribbon scissors. So here's our beautiful card. We're all ready to go. We're going to slide our belly band up from the bottom. I wouldn't do it from the top because it'd be hard to go over that, the sentiment there. And there it is. Isn't that pretty? Now we're just fuss with our bow a little bit more. Just a tiny bit. And we can cut our little tails off the way they just fit nicely here. And there is your triple fold hydrangea card. Isn't that pretty? Thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope that you will subscribe to my YouTube channel and visit me on my blog at Pretty Paper Cards. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.